for our nearly 400 student athletes that we now have on campus today. We are so thankful for your contributions, both on and off the field, and we are especially proud of the individuals that you have become. There is no doubt that your past success was an indicator of the type of individuals that you would become in your lives. Before we get started, I also just want to take a moment to recognize the fact that we have an incredible group on our Hall of Fame selection committee. We have a very, very difficult job because we have so many talented former student athletes to choose from every year. So we're so thankful for those people who lend their time to go through all of the different nominations that we have and selected our wonderful inductees that we have today. They're listed in your program, but I just wanted to extend a special thank you for them. So we're now gonna get started and we will go through and honor all of our inductees. We are gonna go a little bit out of order. We are going to start with those that are connected with the football program first, so that Coach Courier can listen in before he needs to go attend to the important business that he has today as well. So we're gonna start with football. Our first recipient is John Sealing. Oh, hey. Sealing is one of two multi-sport athletes that we will honor today, having been a 3-year letter winner in baseball and a 4-year starter for the CSP football team. A member of the inaugural team in 1969, he led the program both in tackles and defensive points twice in his career. He played both defensive line and linebacker, and his 8 career fumble recoveries still ranks first in the CSP record book. With his contributions, the team won at least 4 games in each of his 4 seasons on campus. John was also an outfielder for the CSP baseball team, helping lead the program to back-to-back conference championships in 1972 and 1973. Sealing taught for over 35 years at Eagle Valley Schools in Eagle Bend, Minnesota, and was also the head coach of the football, softball, and baseball teams there. You're a busy man. He was quite successful, tallying 195 career victories as the football coach and over 200 at the helm of the softball program. John met his wife, Annette, at CSP. They have 2 children, Chris and Carrie, and 4 grandchildren, and they still reside in Eagle Bend. Please join me in congratulating John Sealing.
Always first. Anyway, so she took half my speech, so I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Anyway, so I'm going to give it anyway. The first thing I want to do is tell you this is an unexpected, exciting honor to be up here talking. I want to thank President Friedrich, the Hall of Fame committee, and the alumni staff for all their hard work in doing this. I came to Concordia in the fall of 1969, a long time ago, as an 18-year-old kid to be part of the first football team and to earn a degree. Yeah, I know. After graduated in '73, my wife and I, a few years later, started teaching in a school up north by Park Rabbits. And then a couple of years later, we moved to the big town of Eagle Bend. And I know most of you know where Eagle Bend is. It's a small town north of Alexandria, population about 500. So it's small. As she said, I taught 6th grade for 35 years. My wife taught art, K through 12, for 35 years. I also coached football, and then I coached baseball, and then after my daughter went into softball, fast pitch, then I switched to softball. I retired from softball and teaching in 2014 and from football in 2018. And one thing I did learn after I retired from football is that I really became an excellent coach. From the stands, from the couch, I can tell the Viking coaches what they should and shouldn't done. But as Coach Curry knows, it's a little different when you're on the field. You can go back and look at the tape and go, what did I call that for? You know, so anyway, good luck today, Coach. We still reside in Eagle Bend after 40-some years. Okay, so I want to introduce some of my family that's here, tell you just a touch about them. I want to thank them for coming and sharing this day. As she said, I met my wife, Annette. We were juniors, summer, and she was into art and music, and I was not. I was into sports, football. She was not. So, to show you an example of that, one of our first games our senior year was held at St. Paul Central because we didn't have our own field. She brought her dad to the game, and apparently I got one of those 8 fumbles they talk about, and her dad said, "John just recovered a fumble." And she said, "Is that a good thing?" That's a true story. But I will say that she now is very, very knowledgeable after 40-some years in football, watching me watch tapes and Vikings. She yells a lot at the TV, so. Anyway, I also want to, I got to say, we have one other thing. Her friends never thought this would work. My friends never thought this would work. But now, after 2 children, 4 grandchildren, and 48 years of marriage, I think we did pretty good. So, anyway. Our son Chris is here with his family, Amanda, Isabella, Michael, and Elizabeth. I had the pleasure of coaching Chris in football for high school, which was a pleasure. Our daughter Carrie is here with her family, Dan and Jaden. And I coached Carrie in softball. She was the pitcher, and she really had a nice changeup. But when I went out and talked to her on the mound, I usually got, "What do you want?" You know, that's true too. So she didn't appreciate me coming out and helping her out. So I'm the middle child of 5 siblings. My older sister Bonnie is a graduate of Concordia. My younger sister Carol is a graduate of Concordia. My older brother Bob is a graduate of Concordia, except that would be Moorhead. So, and I also have a brother Dan, and when we were sitting around talking about this a few weeks ago of who was coming, who wasn't, Dan said, "Do you have to give a speech?" And I said, "Probably," and he went, "That's worth $25. So here he is, and I appreciate him coming. Thank you. Coach Jack Surge, all the way from Chicago. And I really appreciate you coming, Coach, and being here. He was our defensive coordinator those years that I was here. And I do believe that through Coach Surge and our late John Chapuzio, head coach, I really learned a lot about handling kids and how to handle kids and how to coach and stuff, and that's probably why I lasted so long in coaching. Over in this table and some in this table are some of my teammates from back then. I'd name them, but I forgot their names, so I really didn't. Stan, I didn't. So, but we were at the hotel last night, and boy, we told some stories, and most of them aren't repeatable here. So, but I will tell you a couple memories from Concordia, just a couple. So, I remember our very first game as a Comet football. We went to Golden Valley to play at their field, and we did win 40-0. That I had to look up, but we did. But what I remember is our kicker, who kicked off for us, was Ben Cruchon. And he was like 6'1", 250 pounds. His wife, Rachel, is back there. Yes. And so, Anyway, he goes to kick off, and he could kick it a mile. And he goes running up, and he goes to kick the ball, and he just nicks it. It rolls about 3 yards and stops. And that was it. That was his kickoff. And everybody wanted to laugh, but we never laughed for Ben. Now, he would get mad. But on the next play, he came through the line and just creamed the quarterback or running back, whoever it was. That's all I remember about that game. Last story, promise, is freshman year. Like I said, Coach John Chapuzio served as a chaplain at Stillwater State Prison. So he has a great idea of, let's play Stillwater. Obviously, we went there to play. And it was quite the experience. We were searched, obviously, going in. We had lunch with them afterward, but the one thing I do remember from that game, well, we won 53-6 also, but I do remember that, you know, it reminded me of The Longest Yard. Have you seen that with either Burt Reynolds or Adam Sadler, with the guards up on top and the prisoners or inmates around on the field, and that's what it was like. And these guys were all there, they know, and it was quite the experience for an 18-year-old kid. So the offense is on the field, and I played defense, so I'm sitting there, and the inmates, some of them are the chain crew on our sidelines. They held the chains. And so Coach Chapuzio calls for a reverse. And the inmate, I always say at this time, he was an older guy, about 60, you know. Doesn't seem quite so old now. But I looked at him, he went, reverse, reverse, watch the reverse. And I said, you can't do that, that's cheating. And he looked at me and he said, I'm not in here on no Sunday school rap. And then he smiles. And that's quite the experience. I'm done, thank you.
You might want that. You know, I've heard quite a few of the Stillwater prison stories since I've been here, and they never get old. I swear, every single time I hear something different that I hadn't heard before, so thanks for sharing. Our next inductee is Stanley Tischer. Tischer earned his associate's degree from Brainerd Community College before coming to CSP, but despite only spending 2 years on the team for the Comets, his contributions still span the pages of the CSP football record book. He still ranks first in season total tackles, season assisted tackles, and season fumbles recovered to this day. At the time of his graduation, he held nearly every tackling record for the program. Tischer was a key player on the team's conference title-winning team in 1978, earning all-conference second-team honors in that season before being named first-team all-conference in 1979. In his only season on the wrestling team, Tischer finished second at the 1978 Conference Wrestling Championship, helping the team win the title and qualifying individually for the national meet. Stanley concluded his career by being named Concordia Athlete of the Year for the 1979-1980 academic year. After graduating in 1981, Tischer spent 3 years coaching with the Comets before becoming the defensive coordinator, wrestling coach, and residence director at Concordia River Falls for 11 years. He earned his MA in guidance and counseling and eventually put that to work in Morris, Illinois, where he worked as a guidance counselor and coach for 24 years. He and his wife Janice now live in New Auburn, Wisconsin. They are the parents of 3 sons and have 8 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, Stanley Tischer.
Well, thank you. I give a lot of speeches in my life. This will probably be the hardest. I'm supposed to carry a tack in my hand when I get emotional. I'm supposed to prick myself. Hopefully that'll work, but I didn't have a tack, so I'll do something else. But I want to thank the president. Him and I were classmates here in I got here in 78, he was here in 79, and his wife, he graduated in 79, and your wife did as well. So I want to thank them. Alumni Director Rhonda, we've crossed paths before, which I didn't know, but I remember now. She was at Concordia River Forest when I was there. She was in the admissions office with one of my best friends, John Robertson. So we got to meet again. And if I'd have known that when we were talking on the phone, it would have been a totally different conversation. But we had a great time anyway. It was fun setting everything up. And seeing all the people here is just pretty cool. And need that pen. But anyway, I always have my speech. I want to thank the committee as well, the athletic director, Reagan, and Rhonda especially. You guys did a great job putting all this together. And I want to congratulate the fellow inductees. You guys are well deserved. I've known some of you, been to numerous things with some of you already. Stan and I did the coin flip here in the 50th anniversary at the 50th anniversary of the football program, so that was kind of fun. Not too many stands around, but nice to see you again. Anyway, I have a lot of people here, but I always talked about faith, family, and friends. It was always been my keynote speak if I ever gave one. And one thing you know about me, all friends become family. I'm going to get through this. But anyway, I'm going to thank Jim and Pat Brown. It was quite a committee that got together to put this together. It was Jim and Pat Brown. Their son, Jeff, was there writing all these things down to send to this program, and my son Joe, my son Josh, and then my son Jake, who's in heaven. But anyway, he's all where we're going to be someday. And he just got there first. And my dad, and he's there as well. And they would all love to be here today. And my dad one time got to walk. They asked me to be an honorary captain a few years ago, and my dad and brother went because I was coaching football naturally, so I couldn't come. So I did that for 40-some years and coached wrestling, and I coached fishing too for many, many years. I told people I was going to do that. I was going to have counseling on the water one day, and by gosh, we did it. And that was in 1990 or 94 when I got a job at Winnetka High School. I told in my interview, I said, I'm going to have counseling on the water. I'm going to take people out, and all we do is sit there and say nothing, because that's what you do when you fish. You fish. So anyway, so that was an interesting one. But I have a lot of family and friends here, and like I said, all family become friends. So, and a lot of former players, and even some that I never coached, but I knew all about Prentice Prairie. He got here after I did, but he always fit in. So when we were coming, Jimmy Brown and Demetrius, some former players called him up and says, Tischer's coming to town, so here he comes. So they all came. So a lot of stories, many stories. Many people would come to my house. My mom fed them. We had lots of football players come out because they all came from the city. Jim Brown, my football coach over there, brought people in and told them I'd take them hunting and fishing, so that's what I had to do. So that was part of my recruiting job, even though. And then my sisters got to meet everybody, and one of them was a great big giant of a man. Help me out, Jimmy. He from Berlin. Dave Jaswinski. He was about 6'6" or whatever, 6'4". He's laying in his long handle underwear in our living room, and my sisters had to step over him because he didn't fit on the couch. We had to lay on the floor. So anyway, it was a fun time. But I have to tell you a little bit about. I played football here and I wrestled here and I had to work. So my second year here to wrestling, I couldn't wrestle anymore. So Jimmy Brown told me about a job in Richfield High School. So Warren and Joyce Camper right over there. That was my first coaching job. I coached with Warren. And one of the things that I said was, in the interview, I told him I was a Christian. And that's not one of the things you can ask. But I think that's what got me the job, because need that pen again. But anyway, he taught me a lot, and Jim Brown taught me a lot, and taught me how to coach and how to deal with children and young adults of all ages. And that's why I did it. 1979 was my first year of coaching, and we coached there for 3 years, and we had to play Bloomington Kennedy. They were the state champions, and they came in one day and flooded our whole facility because we had showers, and they plugged all the drains and then flooded. We had 6 inches of water in our locker room that year. And I told Warren, if that's what it's going to be a state champion, I don't want to be one. So when we became a state champion in wrestling in 2010, we didn't do that. We held ourselves. Like Warren said, you got to be class all the time. So, and if you're a Christian all the time. And that was pretty cool. But anyway, that was my first interview. I had a long streak of interviews where I always got hired. Except for got another interview down in Marshall, Minnesota. I didn't get hired on that one. So that was my first one, but not too many. But most times and these guys taught me all these things. That's 5 minutes? Thank you. I only have 10 minutes. I got a lot of stuff to go through. It's a long time. You know, you do this sport for that long, and I thank Coach Curry. He's been an inspiration to me as well. I was watching him when he first came here, and when they came at the NCAA Division II program for the first time. He led them to numerous wins and conference championships, and that's why they got him back. And he's doing a great job, and I really thank him for that too. Rick and Terry Albrecht, Rick went to school here, and he went to River Forest, and he met Terry here, and she was a little bit older than him, so when he came to River Forest, he had to drive to Georgia to see her on the weekend, so he was pretty tired a lot. He had to drive down to see her. My family's here, my mom's here, and she's always been there to help us. She still must have waited on some of the tables here, because that's what she does. She makes sure everybody's got whatever they need to eat and drink, and then I have my son Joe is here, my son Josh and his family are over there. They're going to come down. Josh and his family are going to come down for the coin toss, so that'd be kind of fun. Curry, you said I could bring anybody. They're coming. Grandkids. I have 4 grandkids there, so the other ones couldn't make it. They have goats. I guess they got to milk goats, so they can't come. But anyway, so and then my sister Bonnie's here. My sister Brenda came in. My sister Barb and her family, and Demetrius, one of my former players, came, and Jimmy Brown. A lot of fun. So I had a long talk with Jimmy Brown. I was a resident director, and we were talking. I had a really good talk. He tells me today he had a girl in the closet. I said, thanks, Jimmy. That was a good story, but anyway. Otherwise, when I was the dorm director, I always carried keys with me, so I always jingled them to let them know I was coming. So I never tried to catch anybody doing anything they weren't supposed to do, but they did that on their own. It wasn't my job to be that person. So I always let everybody know I was around. Jack Surge, you're one of my favorite people. Need that pen. But anyway, so so in order to make all these tackles, somebody had to teach you, and this man did a lot of that. So he taught me how to read an offensive line, and not just when they move, before they move. And so all those things I teach my kids, and I've caught many linebacker. I've caught some kids that went on to college, and I still teach the same techniques he taught me. I teach them, and that's pretty cool. And even though the game has changed, that hasn't. 99.9% of the time, that guard is going to take you to football. And if he doesn't, it's a trick play, so that's somebody else's deal. My job was to read that guy, and that's what we did. Our secondary read was the running back. Our third read was the quarterback. So those all things still take place today. It's just harder now to teach. I don't know why there's not enough time anymore. But anyway, Warren and I had a great 3 years together, coaching wrestling. Jimmy and I have been together for 40, my wife and I got married in 1980. We were still students. My wife was at Bethel, and I was here, and college housing opened up. I said, guess what? We're getting married. So we were supposed to get married in June, and college housing opened up because Ward Major moved out, so me and my wife moved in and got married in February. And we've been together for, this will be 43 years coming up. This is an odd year, right? 23, yeah. 43. Because we got married in 80, about the same time the Olympics were. In fact, the same day that the hockey team won the Olympics, we got married that day. We had American flags at our wedding. It was pretty cool. My brother Buster's here, and brother-in-law. He's like a brother. And he's been with us through a lot of stuff. So let's see, there was our son Jake, and his wife, and he's like a brother. Let's see. got to do a lot of fishing, and my brother-in-law Jeff and I fish a lot together. We hunt a lot, and his family, Jeremy, so we all hunt together, fish together. So when I do in retirement, I still do the same things. My mom told me you're going to spend as much money in retirement as you did when you were working, so I had to make sure I had enough money so I could still do the things I want to do, and I'd have to get another job because I didn't want to do that. But I never really had a job because I enjoyed what I did. And they said, you find something you love and do it for the rest of your life and get paid for it. That's what you do. And as a counselor, that's what I told my children, too. I said, whatever you want to do, you don't want to get up and dread going to work every day. Because then it's, a job to me is like taking out the garbage. I had to do that yesterday, and that wasn't very good. We got it done. We usually do it on a Thursday, because I know Friday's the day, so we try and do it Thursday night. But anyway, I want to thank all of you for being here. I had a lot of people come up that I had no idea were coming. And luckily we had some people not show, so we just changed names. So Jimmy Brown is my cousin, or nephew, Jordan. How you doing? Demetrius is Pat Brown, that's Jim's wife. So we did all kinds of stuff. Somebody else had to switch into Prentice Perry, I guess you're my wife, but she's over there. But she sat by her brother, and Prentice got to sit by me. So it was a fun adventure. I do a lot of stuff with my brother-in-law Scott, which I didn't do before, but now we do, and do four-wheel together and camp together, and it's just a fun time. And my son Josh, little legacy there. I got to coach my brother Steve twice, 2 years. He coached him in 1980, my first year of coaching, and then he took a hiatus and went and did roofs, tar roofs. He got tired of that and said, I'm going back to school. So that's when you do tar roofs, you have to bring separate clothes with you because you're so tired you can't sit in your car, you stick, you never get up. So they always had extra separates. Then they came back again in 82, got to coach him again, and then my son Josh got his master's from here. So I guess we have a little bit of a legacy. And Josh graduated and coached under Maurer, and who's the other guy? Just Maurer? Okay, when Maurer was here. So I think my time up. Oh, good. But anyway, thank you all. I made it through. Last time I did this, I talked to my dad's retirement party. I cried through the whole thing. That was 20-some years ago, so I got better. Thank you. Oh, I do have one joke. I'm supposed to have a joke, but I like Ronald Reagan, and he's one of my favorite presidents. He was my father-in-law's favorite president. So he's campaigning one day, and he looks down, he sees a chicken. He's going 60 miles an hour, the chicken's running right next to him. So he goes up to 70, the chicken passes him. So he follows the chicken all the way to this guy's barn. He goes to the farmer and says, did you see a three-legged chicken run by here? And he says, yeah, we raise them. He said, well, why do you raise a three-legged chicken? He said, well, my wife likes a drumstick, I like a drumstick, and my son likes a drumstick. He said, well, how do you taste? Never caught one yet. Thank you. This way?
So I did hear him say fishing coach, and I hope you weren't listening too closely. We're always considering what's our next sport to add around here. So I know bass fishing is a thing right now. Just saying. Next up is Megan Carlson Brown. A Division I transfer from Marshall University, Brown was a key player on Golden Bear squads that produced a 103-6 record during her 3 years on campus, and also brought home 3 NCAA Division II national titles. Not only is Brown a 3-time national champion, she is also a 3-time Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference champion and was named both the NSIC Player of the Year and the Central Region Player of the Year as a senior in 2011. She is one of only 6 players in program history to tally over 1,000 kills and 1,000 digs as a Golden Bear. And don't forget, she did that in only 3 years here. She still ranks in the top 10 in the record books in career receive percentage, career digs per set, career points per set, career solo blocks, and career digs. After earning All-America second-team honors in her sophomore campaign, she capped off her career with back-to-back All-America first-team selections in 2010 and 2011. Megan earned her degree in education in 2012 and currently resides in Mound, Minnesota with her husband Seth, son Beckett, and daughter Blakely. She is currently a senior account manager at J.L. Buchanan, a retail consulting firm she has worked with for 4.5 years, and she remains active in volleyball as a coach for the Mound Co-op High School Boys Program. Please welcome to the stage, Megan Carlson Brown.
Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to follow the last two, but I'm going to stick to script here, so it might be a little bit more short and sweet. But I loved hearing the stories, but I, didn't go that route. So it's an honor to be here, and I'm among so many other amazing athletes in the Concordia Hall of Fame. And I want to thank the Concordia Alumni Association for all who worked planning this, and they're amazing for this amazing event. This wouldn't happen each year without your dedication to the alumni, so thank you. As I reflect on my career as an athlete, there are 3 important things that come to my mind: my parents, my coaches, and my teammates. Therefore, I'd like to take the time to thank first my parents. Standing here 10 years after graduation, things are a bit different. Last time I was here was for our last match. Since then, I'm married, bought a house, have 2 children, and a dog. Can't forget the dog. This has been given, my perception is a little bit different now being a mom as well. I'm wondering how in the world you ever have made time to make everything happen. The commitment from driving me to club sports about an hour away 3 times a week to then play days in Minnesota 3 days a week, and then taking time on the weekends to then go out of state and take time away from your family for me. As a kid, we don't have the luxury of focusing on what we want and not how to get that, like money and time that goes into that. You both always allowed my dreams to become a reality, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you for always being my biggest fan and the support and dedication that helped me fulfill my dreams to play college volleyball. I wouldn't be here today without you both. Thank you. Now, for the career side. I want to thank my coaches over the years who helped shape me into the player I was. Most importantly, Brady and George. Anyone that knows these 2 know that they're the last to take credit for the amazing success the volleyball program has. As a player who transferred to college to play for Brady and George, my decision wasn't taken lightly. I left a school in hopes to find another school to love the big game of volleyball again, and couldn't be happier with my decision. They care about each and every player on and off the court, and truly the reason the program is where it is today. Thank you for challenging me daily, taking my game to the next level. I owe much of my success to them both, so thank you. The last important thing that I would say throughout the career is my team. I'm so grateful for the teammates I played alongside throughout my career, and because of them, I was challenged daily to perform to the best of my abilities. I'll cherish the memories and friendships that were created playing the sport that I love. Lastly, I want to thank everyone that took the time out of their day today to be here with me. My parents, from friends to my kids. I know there's a lot going on, and I appreciate you being here, so thank you.
All right. Next on our list is Brian Lippincott. One of the most distinguished and feared hitters in NSIC baseball history, Brian Lippincott flirted with the 500 batting average mark for a single season while capturing the NCAA Division II batting title on his way to being selected by the Washington Nationals in the 19th round of the 2012 MLB draft. Of the various awards in Lippincott's file, none are more prestigious than being named the CASIDA Division II Academic All-American of the Year. That means that across all Division II sports, he beat out all the other Academic Americans of the Year to be named the one and only Academic All-American of the Year. He earned that after being named Academic All-American of the Year for baseball the year prior. He is a 2-time Tino Martinez Division II Player of the Year national semifinalist and earned both NSIC and Central Region Player of the Year in 2012. Brian still ranks in the top 4 in the CSP record books in 21 different statistical categories. I will not list those right now because we do want to make it to the carnival later, but I will mention at least that his career batting average is .428. A perfect 4.0 student, Lippincott completed his finance degree at CSP and would later earn his MBA from University of St. Thomas with an emphasis in business analytics. He works as a lead financial analyst at Coloplast in Northeast Minneapolis and is married to CSP women's basketball student athlete, Marlena, former Graf. They reside in St. Paul with their children, Brooklyn, Everett, and Cameron. Please join me in congratulating Brian Lippincott.
All right. I'll probably follow a little bit more Megan's thread than the first two as well. Keep it short and sweet. Laundry list of thank yous. I got a chance to go watch I think it's the blue gold scrimmage to finalize the fall last night. I had a few people ask me, how's your speech coming along? What's it look like? I said, I'm pretty good on my feet. So, got some notes here. But yeah, laundry list of thank yous. The first two people, I just want to thank my mom and my dad. My mom, Barb, my dad, Keith. You know, a lot of what Megan said, I'd echo that. You know, they took me to a lot of sports. They coordinated everything. I got a chance to be a coach's kid. That was really special to me. Tagging along with my dad to the field as a fat boy, just always around the game. They probably made a questionable parenting decision. My favorite movie growing up was Major League. I watched it until the VHS wore out. I learned what I wasn't supposed to say. But it was really tremendous, and they always supported me in everything. And I think the biggest thing is they always wanted to make sure it was fun. You know, keep playing as long as it's fun. And that was the important thing. And then they really instilled a work ethic as well. My dad taught for, I believe, 40 years, retired in 2020. Got a taste of virtual learning for about 2 weeks and decided it was time to hang it up. But along the way, he also got up at about 2 in the morning every morning, worked for the Des Moines Register delivering papers, and was just a tremendously hard worker. My mom was always there for me. She always encouraged me. I joke that she's an obnoxiously proud parent, and I mean that as a compliment. Next on the list, I'd have to thank Lunch Mckenzie. He didn't exactly win a recruiting battle for me. This was the only offer I had. I came up here, I believe we worked out on a Saturday, and I think I had a financial package in hand Sunday night, Monday morning. This was the only offer I had. Couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity that I was given to be a part of a program that's produced now a big leaguer. You know, I'd say this, Louis Varlin, I don't think had an offer from the University of Minnesota, but he's pitching for the Twins. That's pretty cool. And that's the opportunity that Concordia provides. The facilities, the people, and everyone here give you a chance to play the sport that you love, earn a degree, earn lifelong friends. It's a really tremendous opportunity. I told Lunch when I saw him today, and it was kind of a big deal to be here because he's got jeans on. For those of you who know him, hat and sweatpants are usually in the arsenal. They're not today. I'd also like to thank Randy Wee, my high school coach. He's not here today, but I came from a very successful program, fundamentally sound, taught you to respect the game, love the game, take the extra base, always work hard, keep a chip on your shoulder. So I mentioned I was lightly recruited. I never forgot that, and that was always something that drove me to work harder. There's two people also, another Concordia Hall of Famer, Kristen Schmidt, who's now, I forget her last name. She's married, I think she's got 4 or 5 boys, but Kristen Sukup. She married Oliver Sukup, who was a strength coach here, but Kristen was really instrumental in my development. When I got here, through her guidance, I was able to put on about 20 pounds, and a couple doubles started going over the fence, and that was really helpful for me. And then Mike Morris, you know, I spent a lot of time in the weight room, and I always found the resources that I need when I wanted extra work or something more. They were always there. There was never a question. I got to know the security staff here because I'd call them on holidays and see if I could get a key or get in. You know, when they're doing gymnastics events at the Gangelhoff Center and you're getting the side eye from the parents that are there as you're walking through in shorts, and it's like, I'm going to get a workout in, sorry. They'd always let me in. I always found what I needed when I asked. Josh Deere, who's got to be the best SID in the business. You know, when you get this nomination and you get into the Hall of Fame, you get a list that says, submit a list of accomplishments. And I was really easily able to do that because of the work that Josh and his team do. I believe Josh is really instrumental in nominating the athletes here for the various awards that they get and documenting their successes and advocating for them. And it was pretty easy to copy and paste what he'd already done and take his work and put it into the application. So, I think he's tremendous at what he does. He's a really, really nice guy, and couldn't thank him enough for that. I'd like to thank my in-laws who aren't here. They're setting up in Las Vegas for a huge trade show. But I met my wife here when I was a sophomore in college, and her parents, Dan and Diana, were extremely supportive of me in my career, to the point that I think it's probably an NIL okay at this point, probably a violation then, but I got a box with a couple $100 in it when I was playing summer ball in Illinois for some spending money over the summer, some shorts and a bunch of clothes, because I think I told her that I packed light because I thought I was gonna get drafted. So they were always extremely good to me. And then another neat thing about being part of the baseball program here is the connection to the Twins. Tom Kelly's got 2 World Series rings. Jim Wiesner was in the clubhouse for 40-some years. Weezy was the bench coach and always had pearls of wisdom, none of which I can repeat in front of people. But Tom Kelly would come out and run practice, and I know at one of our banquets he mentioned to somebody, make sure and thank your wife. My wife and my 3 kids are here. My wife, Marlena, I met her as a sophomore in college in Student Athlete Advisory Committee. The acronym for that is SAC, so I told my cousin I met my wife in SAC, and he thought that was pretty funny. But she's been there, we've been together since 2010, so 12 years. We have 3 beautiful children together. She's always supported me. She's always there. I think you can probably see 2 of my kids, and a 3rd is under the table. But just couldn't thank her enough for the support that she gave me and continues to give me. And that's really what baseball gave me. It gave me the opportunity at the end of the day to connect with a lot of amazing people, a lot of amazing teammates. I have friends all over the country that I talk to. I got a chance to play professionally. And that's what it is, that's what you remember. We're sitting at Green Mill last night trading stories, and I'm actually not a very talkative guy, but I've got some former teammates who are, and you sit around and you talk about the good times, and that's what you remember and that's what you walk away with. And what it means to me to be a part of a family and a fraternity like that is not something that I can put into words. It's an incredible honor to have the opportunity to play collegiate sports. It's an incredible honor to have the opportunity to play professionally, and it's an incredible honor to stand up in front of this group and accept this tremendous award. So I can't thank Reagan and the committee. I believe Tom Rebelke's on that committee as well. Rubes was the AD when I was here, advocated for the athletes. He was always there. He's very present on campus. Stop by and talk to him in his office. So can't thank them enough. And then it's pretty neat when you get a call from the president of the university welcoming you to the Hall of Fame. So President Friedrich, I really appreciate that. Just want to congratulate my fellow inductees and wish everybody a happy and safe weekend. Thank you.
You're right, you are pretty good on your feet. Our next inductee is Katie Anderson Mckenzie. Mckenzie made an immediate impact on the Golden Bear softball team, helping the program to its first of 4 consecutive 30-plus win seasons during her tenure, and leading the NSIC in steals as a freshman in 2009. That would become the norm for Mckenzie, as she led the conference in steals for 2 more years, capping off her career by earning all NSIC and all Central Region first team honors, including a spot on the 2012 all NSIC Gold Glove team. Her 108 steals still ranks #1 in the CSP record books, as does her stolen base percentage of .956. Her contributions both offensively and defensively helped lead the team to 2 NCAA Central Region tournaments, including reaching the regional championship game in 2012. Mckenzie graduated with a degree in exercise science in 2012 and worked for Target Corporation in Minneapolis as an inventory analyst. During that time, we were also lucky to have her as an assistant coach for the Golden Bears. Her husband, Marcus, earned his master's degree from CSP as well, and spent time as both a graduate assistant and full-time assistant with the CSP baseball program. Katie is currently a stay-at-home mother with their daughter, Madison, and they live in Lakeville. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Anderson Mckenzie.
Thank you all for being here today. It's an honor for me to be here today as an inductee of the 2022 Concordia University Athletic Hall of Fame class. I am truly blessed, humbled, and honored to be in this year's class alongside some amazing athletes. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for their decision to induct me into the Hall of Fame. This is an accomplishment that I will cherish for the rest of my life. There is no possible way to thank everyone who played a role in me being here, but there are some specific people I would like to recognize. First, I want to thank my mom. You have been there with me every step of the way, from my first day of T-ball to my last college softball game. You sacrificed a lot to ensure I had everything I needed. You made it work, no matter what. You also got me through some of the hardest times in my life. You were there to console and motivate me, to keep me going when I needed it most. Mom, you have no idea how much I appreciate you, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything. Next, I would like to thank my family, my sister Jen, my dad, and my grandparents. I want to thank my older sister for her countless support and encouragement over the years. She's one of the most genuine and caring people I know, and I'm very lucky to have her as a sister. Dad, I know if you were here today, you would be the proudest guy in the room. I want to thank you for always pushing me to be the best and for being my biggest fan. You got me to so many early morning hockey and softball practices. I truly cherished our time together. I love and miss you very much. My grandparents, Pop and Grandma, always followed my games online, saved every article that mentioned my name or my team, and they loved traveling to Florida to watch us play in March. It truly brought them so much joy to watch me play ball, and they have no idea how much it meant to me to have them in the stands cheering me on. I want to thank them both for that. I want to thank my high school coaches, Kathy Schoberl and Michelle Seeger. They were the ones who saw my speed as a threat and moved me to the outfield. They gave me the confidence to excel out there, and I never looked back. Coach Seeger was actually the one who taught me how to drag bunt from the right side, which is something I made part of my game quite often. I could talk forever about all the teammates I've played with throughout the years, but the specific group of girls I shared the field with over those 4 years are some of the best. I still have close relationships with many of my prior teammates, and that is something I'll cherish forever. To Bob, my college softball coach, I want to thank you for believing in me and my talent when I was unsure if I could compete at the Division II level. You were so supportive of me in my entire career, and you did whatever you could to help me out, no questions asked. You are the best coach I've ever played for, and you pushed me in ways I didn't think I was capable. After I was done playing, I had the privilege of joining his coaching staff, and those were some of the best years of my life. I have the honor of calling you my friend. Thank you for everything. Also, I would like to thank my assistant coaches for their help in making my collegiate experience amazing. Kristen, Schmitty worked tirelessly with me in the weight room and during our off-season conditioning months. I owe a lot to her for my successes on the softball field. CSP holds a very special place in my heart. It's where I met my now husband, Marcus. We are celebrating 10 years together and 5 wonderful years of marriage in a couple weeks. Marcus, I want to thank you for your constant support and love. You're everything to me. You are such an amazing person, and I'm so proud to be your wife. Thank you for everything. I love you. My father-in-law, Lunch Mckenzie, is here. He has been so supportive of Marcus and I, and he's had such an amazing career. He is so great to the softball team while I was here, and he was more than willing to share his knowledge of the game. When he spoke, everybody listened. He gave out incredibly helpful batting pointers, and that no doubt helped me succeed at the plate, so I thank you for that. And finally, to my daughter, Madison. You may have missed all this, but I can't wait to tell you all about it someday. And I can't wait to cheer you on in whatever you choose to do in life. I'll always be there for you. Thank you.
So I got hired at Concordia in February of 2012, which was Katie's senior year. And one of my favorite memories, one of the first really fun things I got to do was travel with that team when they went to the Super Region in Sioux Falls. So something I think about all the time. And she's selling herself short when she says that she still just hangs out with some of her former teammates because they still go win softball tournaments together. So that's a real thing. They do that. It's awesome. Congrats. Next up is Jacqueline Hauser Snodgrass. Snodgrass was a key member of the Golden Bears women's golf team that earned the program's first ever NSI team championship and first NCAA region championship appearance. Her third place finish at the 2009 Super Region Tournament vaulted the team to second place, earning them qualification for the NCAA Division II National Championships as a team. She boasts back-to-back all NSIC first team honors, as well as earning National Golf Coaches Association all-region first team honors in 2009. Her career scoring average of 82.6 ranked first among CSP women's golfers at the time of her graduation. After earning her degree in sport management, Snodgrass served as a graduate assistant coach for the Golden Bears and later coached in her hometown of Caledonia for the high school girls program. She has worked for 10 years as a financial worker at Houston County Public Health and Human Services. She and her husband Cole have 2 sons, Jarrett and Jaden. Congratulations, Jacqueline Hauser Snodgrass.
Thank you for all being here today. I'm not much of a public speaker, so I'm going to be reading off of this paper. I'd like to start by saying congratulations to my fellow inductees. It is an honor and privilege to be recognized with this amazing group of athletes and to join the ones that came before us. I know the hard work and dedication that each of you put into your sport and in the classroom here at Concordia, and I am proud to be standing here with you today. I would like to thank the selection committee for choosing me for this prestigious award. I also thank you to Rhonda and the Alumni Association and the entire CU Athletic Department and University for all of their hard work to make today happen. I may be the one up here receiving this award, but it is the result of so many people who helped me along the way. I would like to start by giving a huge thank you to the CU Athletic Department, to the administration. When I was here, it was Rubes, Jamros, Val, Tommy, Josh. They all worked endlessly to ensure that all of us athletes had everything we needed to be successful. All of the coaches here at CU were top notch also. It didn't matter what sport you played, they all had your back and cheered you on. It truly takes a village to run a successful program, and Concordia has the best village around. A good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life. That quote by the great John Wooden could not be truer for me, as I have been blessed with amazing coaches in my life. To begin, I have to throw it way back to the beginning. I was blessed to have one of the best high school coaches in the state, Ken Vandenboom Boomer, who is also a Hall of Famer, was a very influential part of my golf career, and I wouldn't be here without him or my high school teammates. Moving on to Coach Higgins, who recruited me here to play at CU. He couldn't be here today because he's now an assistant coach at the University of Minnesota, but I got a very nice text from him this week congratulating me. At that time, golf was just up and coming here at Concordia. My first year was only the 3rd year of the women's golf program, and it was the inaugural season for the men's team. As a freshman, we started with only 4 girls on the team and only had 3 by the spring season, which meant we couldn't even compete as a team and only played individually. Let's face it, in 2005, athletes didn't come to CU to play golf. They came to play on the national championship volleyball team. During that first year, I remember thinking, what in the world am I doing here? I went from a high school state championship team to a college that couldn't field a team. Thank goodness for my teammate and then roommate Carly, who wouldn't let me leave after that first year. Then Coach Higgins started to work his magic. He recruited some of the best golfers, and he, along with one of the best swing coaches in the country, assistant coach Craig Warrian, started putting together a team that would turn the program around and put CU golf on the map. Coach Higgins and Warrian were the type of coaches that got all of us to buy into their program and trust their vision. They earned our respect enough that we didn't think twice about 6 a.m. workouts, who knew golfers worked out, grueling daily practices, and sometimes not so Minnesota nice weather, and summers spent here in the city so that we could be close to our coaches and work on our games. In the end, it all paid off. My senior year, we finally reached our team goals. We placed top 3 in every regular season tournament, winning 4 of them. We won the conference tournament and qualified for the national tournament, placing 9th in the country. In 4 short years, we were able to turn the CU women's golf program around and be one of the best in Division II. I was never the most physically talented golfer on the course. Matt Higgins once told me after a tournament that the reason I excelled was because when he would come up to me on the course, he couldn't tell by my demeanor if I had just birdied or bogeyed the last hole. My attitude and emotions, or lack thereof, were the reason I was successful, and that was a significant lesson that stuck with me in my playing days and still sticks with me today. And it didn't end there. After graduating, I joined Coach Higgins and Warrior as a graduate assistant coach. I find it hard to believe, but I learned even more from those two men in those 2 years than I did when I was a player. Their passion and knowledge for the game of golf and their compassion for their players was something to be admired, and I was blessed to play for them and coach alongside them. Thank you to Coach Higgins and Warrior for all of their hard work and commitment to the program, and for allowing a small-town Minnesota girl to be part of something big. Now, on to my teammates. To put it simply, I would not be standing here today if it weren't for my Golden Bear teammates on both the men's and women's teams. We all started out as strangers and evolved into a family. We formed some amazing lifelong friendships and created some unforgettable memories along the way. You know you found some good teammates when you practice with them every day, travel with them every weekend, and still want to hang out with them in your free time and even live with them. As mentioned prior, Carly, former Paul Seth, was one of those teammates. She and I hit it off from our first practice our freshman year, and we were inseparable after that. With total opposite personalities, we formed quite the friendship, and I wouldn't have made it at CU or earned this award without her. I also have to give a shout out to another great teammate on the men's team, Elfie. He texted me this week to make sure to tell all of you that he's the reason I am getting this award. Him and I had a friendly competition each season to see who could get the most birdies. We had a big board up in our house that we kept tallies on. I think I won, but I suppose I will give him the credit for pushing me to do that. There were many more teammates that were influential to the success of the program and my time here at Concordia. I couldn't possibly name them all, so I'd like to thank all of them and hope they know that each and every one of them played a part in this award. They say to save the best for last, and God has blessed me with the best family. Thank you for being here today and supporting me, even though I think the only reason you made the 3-hour trip is to watch me stumble through this speech. Just kidding. Honestly, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for each and every one of you. To my husband and kids, I know you weren't around back in the day for my golf career, but golf is still a huge part of my life, and it is fun to share that hobby with you now. Thank you for all of your support and letting me still play the game I love, even though it cuts into some of our family time. Jarrett and Jaden, thank you for loving golf and all sports just as much as I do. Keep working hard, and someday, all too soon, you will be beating Mom on the course. To my 3 older siblings, much to Dad's dismay, none of you grew up playing golf. Thank you for saving one sport for me to beat you all at. However, growing up watching all 3 of you succeed in every sport you played made me want to be the best athlete I could be. I looked up, literally, to all of you and wanted to be just like you. And I blame you, or maybe I should say thank you, for my competitiveness. Thank you for being such great role models and supporting me through my golf career and in life. To my parents, thank you for teaching me the game of golf at such a young age and being my biggest cheerleaders my entire career. You traveled across the country to watch me chase a little white ball around. Not only did you come watch me in every tournament you possibly could, you also managed to bring my 3 oldest nephews along whenever possible. You 3 boys were my biggest fans and made me a little less homesick every weekend you came to watch. I think the only reason you came was to fill your pockets with lost golf balls, but you provided us all great entertainment and laughs every weekend. Mom, you've always been my #1 fan and put a lot of miles on the golf course following me around. As I have gotten older, I have realized that all of the most important qualities that I needed for success on the course and in life I got from you: patience, perseverance, and mental strength. Thank you for supporting and encouraging me every step of the way. Dad, where do I begin? Thank you for sharing your love of the game with me and for pushing me to be the best golfer I could be. We have played hundreds of rounds of golf together, and you taught me almost everything I know. There's a quote by one of our favorite all-time golfers, Arnold Palmer, that says, "Golf is a game of inches. The most important are the 6 inches between your ears." And that's the most important lesson you taught me. All those times coming up hole 8 when I had you beat, only for you to get in my head and blow the lead, really prepared me to compete against some of the best. My only goal growing up was beating you, and it took me going to college and getting a personal swing coach to finally do so on a somewhat consistent basis. We are usually on the same team now, but we still like to have a little friendly competition, especially when it comes to who can drive the ball farther. You have literally been the jack of all trades when it comes to my golf career. You've been my teacher, mentor, competitor, teammate, caddy. That one was short-lived after losing my club. And even my college coach once. You retired this one quickly also after I got a hole-in-one on the first hole of the tournament. That gave you some serious bragging rights with Coach Higgins and all of the other coaches. Thank you for everything, Dad. This award is definitely as much yours as it is mine. Thank you all so much for being here for this special day, and congratulations again to all my fellow inductees. God bless, and go Golden Bears.
Jacqueline, I have to tell you, Higgins isn't here today, but one of the comments that I remember on his nomination form for you was, "She laid the foundation." So, thank you. All right, our final inductee is Dion Zion Jr., one of the most consistent performers in CSP track and field history, earning all NSIC honors in all eight of his opportunities during his time on campus. As a freshman, Zion was national qualifier in the long jump, earning a 13th place finish at the 2009 NCAA Indoor Championships. His career best outdoor long jump of 23 feet 10 inches was the longest jump in CSP history at the time of his graduation, and was only recently surpassed this last 2022 season. Zion still holds career records in the indoor 4x200 meter relay, the outdoor 4x200 meter relay, and the outdoor 4x100 meter relay. For his career, he tallied an impressive 80.75 points across several events in his 8 NSIC championship appearances. Zion majored in criminal justice and put the degree to work immediately upon graduation, working as a corrections officer at Stillwater Correctional Facility before enrolling in the training program for the Minnesota State Patrol in 2016. Since graduating from the State Patrol Academy, Zion has worked as a state trooper as well as a field training officer for probationary troopers. He and his fiancée, Kim, reside in Minneapolis with their son. Ladies and gentlemen, Dion Zion.
Last but not least, so I'll try to keep it short and sweet, not that much of a public talker. But just want to thank the selection committee for giving me an opportunity to be in the same company as all the great athletes that came here through Concordia. I want to thank Rhonda and the rest of the athletic committee. I want to thank the family and friends for coming out here on this Saturday morning. I know some of you might be wanting to do other things, watch some football, get yourself ready for the football games. But thank you for coming out here with the other inductees, sharing this moment with us. I want to thank my mom, first off, for raising me. Single parent mom with my older brother George back there. So thank you. You did a tremendous job raising me to be a respectful man, disciplined man, give me opportunity to meet my fiance, Winter Hart, and now we have a baby boy. Thank my brother, who doesn't really know this, but I always looked up to him. George is always the successful one, getting straight A's, 4.0, so my mom was like, you need to do what your brother did. Be better than him. So always a successful person, always working hard, so I get that determination from him as well. I want to thank my coaches here at Concordia, Coach Sam, Coach Sampson, and Sam, who was a competitor at one point, and then came here to coach. When he got here, pretty much worked with me directly with getting better at long jump, being more technical. And then, as Reagan stated, jumped on the scene here my freshman year. I think it was the first jump I had was broke the record at Concordia here, which gave me a chance to go national championship. But also in that season, I think the meet was December, broke the record, and then you get your vacation time, Christmas vacation. So I went home, just chilled, relaxed, wasn't really working, practicing, came back in January. Never really got that same jump again that year, but it just taught me that you have to consistently work hard. So from then on throughout my career, I continued to do that. A lot of people I want to thank, teammates. So one thing that I'll say is just thinking about college here, the main thing I miss the most is just that interaction with my teammates, the camaraderie, the road trips. Yes, you got to be ready to compete, but after the competition, you always have your friends to laugh and joke with. I remember my freshman year, I wasn't really that much of a talker like I talk now, but freshman year coming to Concordia, you would have to come up to me for me to even talk to you. That's how shy I was, kind of. But I remember the first bus ride that we took somewhere, Will Lang decided to put a little prank joke on me, so I think I was either sleeping or doing something. Like, the majority of the bus knew what was gonna happen. I had no idea. So he comes up to me, says, "Hi, Dion, can I sit next to you," whatever. So he has baby powder in his hand. So all of a sudden he just turns around, hits me with the baby powder, whole bus starts laughing. I was beat red, angry at him, but just decided to calm down, so I'll get my revenge later. I think we stopped at Pizza Ranch in Iowa. Got my pizza, got a giant bowl of mashed potatoes. I wasn't even gonna eat it. Grabbed a huge handful, found Will, walked past him, just slapped him with the mashed potatoes. The whole restaurant started laughing, so that's one of the major memories I remember here. But most importantly, just given the opportunity to be an athlete here at Concordia, which led me to become a state trooper. I also got a chance to, I think my junior year, with Carolyn Zaper. She was a professor here, so she gave me an opportunity to meet a state trooper back in like 2009, interview with him about the career and whatnot. After college, I was going to apply for, I think, Minneapolis or some city organization, but I went the correctional officer route. And then it always stuck with me, that interview that I had, so that led me to take the LEADO route, which is like a law enforcement training program, as Reagan was stating earlier. Got an opportunity to become a state trooper, which I still love to this day. I'm drawing a blank here, bear with me. But overall, just thankful for this opportunity to be a part of this college, and wanted to say thank you to or congratulations to the other inductees, and thank you everybody for coming. God bless.
Well, good morning, almost good afternoon, and I know we got some people that have to get out to a coin toss, so we're gonna wrap it up for you. My name is Rhonda Palmersheim, and I serve as the Associate Vice President for Alumni and Constituent Relations here at the university, and I'm a proud alumna of the class of 1988. On behalf of the Concordia Alumni Association, I want to once again congratulate all of our inductees. One of the greatest joys of my job here are days like today, the days we celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of you, our alumni. The success that you experienced here at Concordia as a student athlete was only the beginning of the success in your life. You have each moved on from Concordia and created wonderful and unique experiences for you and your families and all the lives that you've touched. My hope is that you leave this morning with a renewed sense of self and a fond remembrance of your time at Concordia. I encourage you to stay in touch with us and share your future accomplishments with us and your fellow classmates and friends. I have just a few quick thank yous that we haven't addressed, and unfortunately, most of the folks are gone doing other things. But first, I want to thank Chad, who is back by the virtual live stream back there, and all of our IT staff who made it possible for those who couldn't be with you to watch you being inducted. I want to thank Jen Sela, the director of our conference and event staff, and all of her student workers. We have quick changes. We had an alumni awards banquet last night. We flipped the whole room. What you see here is not what was here last night. We were here late in the evening to make this ready, and then her and her staff are gonna flip it again for our Golden Reunion banquet tonight. So they do an amazing job. Reagan and your incredible staff, it is always a pleasure to partner with you for this event. It brings me great blessing to work with you and your staff. And finally, our Sodexo staff. You saw them working here and serving you today, but our head chef, Jameson Cross, and our director of Sodexo Services, Jay Reckdahl. And finally, I want to thank you, our guests, for coming out here today to celebrate these inductees alongside of us. We'll see you all shortly at Seafoam Stadium, and go Bears! One more thing. I know I do that and then I always come back. If you have I have a box and bubble wrap for your plaques. If you would like to pick those up, you can get them at the checkout table.